Hello guys, and welcome to Spartan Tactics. Today I'm going to show you how to capture 4K video on your Xbox One X and upload it successfully onto YouTube with your Mac OS. Alright, so first we're going to need a 3.0 USB drive with a minimum of 30 gigabytes available. We need to format the drive, so be sure not to leave anything on there you might need. Next, we need to format the USB into NTSC mode, which is a filing system for Windows. For that, we're going to need to format our drive on a Windows PC. Or on a Mac, it could be done through Boot Camp. But if you have neither of those, there's also a software available for Mac that formats the drives for you. It's a paid software, but you can use a 7-day free trial with Paragon. I'll leave a link in the description for you. For the purposes of this video, I will format the drive on Boot Camp Windows 10. The Xbox actually has an option to format the drive for you, as it sets either for media or for games. In our case, we would need it for media, though it says it formats the drive. It is not successful when trying to record 4K footage for more than the 30-second limit. Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump onto the formatting part. And as you can see, I am running Windows 10, but I am running Windows 10 on Boot Camp. So this is the way that I do it, and this is the way that I'm going to show you how to format the drive. Let's go ahead and open up the folders over here. Scroll down to where the USB drive would be. This is what I named it, Xbox 4K. You can name it or rename it whatever you want. The name itself doesn't change even if you format it, unless you rename it yourself. But normally we would have a game DVR folder here, which the Xbox creates, and that's where all your footage would be stored at. But let's go ahead and format the drive. It's a 30 gigabyte drive, but we only have available 28.9, and this is the filing system that we're gonna need, NTFS. None of these, so it's going to be NTFS. Select that, and you don't need to mess with anything else. You can either select quick format or not, it's just up to you. But let's go ahead and start formatting. Alright, so it just gives you the warning that it's going to erase everything. The formatting usually doesn't take that long. It's very quick. As you can see, it'll probably pop up in a bit. But basically the formatting is just one of the steps that we have to do in order to record the footage on the Xbox. But let's go ahead and jump onto the Xbox. I'm going to show you how to configure the 4K capture settings, and we'll go ahead and see it all. Okay guys, so after formatting the USB, we're going to go ahead and just plug it into the Xbox itself and work with the capture settings on there. But I just wanted to show you real fast. This is the USB 3.0, and it's a 32 gigabyte. This is the one we were working with. This is the one I formatted on Windows, of course on Boot Camp on the Mac. So let's go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in the back. You can plug it in the front of the Xbox. This is the Xbox One X. This is the only one where you can record 4K. But if you plug it in the front, it should work. The only thing that sometimes I've experienced with little problems, which it actually stops recording for some reason. I don't understand why, but let's just go ahead and plug it in on the back. Let's see. Apologize for the video. Alright, so the external media is ready. Alright, so like I said, I apologize for the video quality and the video itself. I'm recording it off my phone for a reason. When I try to record anything on the Xbox that has nothing to do with any games, it automatically stops. So I can't show you guys the 4K settings. And if I do try to record it with the capture card only goes up to 1080p. So the 4K settings are actually not even present when recording with the 1080p capture card in this case. So that's why I'm recording off my phone, so I can show you guys exactly where to go. Once you plug in the USB, let's go ahead and navigate through this. And apologize for the shakiness. I am controlling the other remote with one hand, so if you can just bear with me. Alright, so we're going to go to settings. Alright, once we're in settings, first what we're going to do is that we're going to go directly to storage, or I'm sorry, the system. And on system, we're going to go directly to storage. Go ahead and open that up. Now here you should appear basically any internal or external memory that you have. An external hard drive for say. This is the one I have. It's just 1 terabyte, and I use it mostly just to store most of the games on here. Try to keep the internal free just so the Xbox can run a little bit better. But anyways, this is the 4K Xbox USB that we've been working with. As you can see, it's the same name. Right now it does have some media on it because I recorded the beginning, what I used on the beginning of this video. But I'll go ahead and show you guys exactly how it appears. So once you plug in the USB, it appears as it's right now. You would click on the USB and select it. Now you get an option to either view what's in it and set it as a capture location. Once you set it up as a capture location, it gives you this little warning, or not a warning, but it basically tells you that depending on the device that you have, the clip could be up to 60 minutes long. And of course, once you confirm it, you are able to record and you're able to edit it on any editing software, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so now that we've set it as an internal, if you can double check, make sure to do it again. There's no issue on there. Go ahead and confirm. We're going to go ahead and exit out of this. Now we're going to go all the way to broadcast, or I'm sorry, in this case preferences. And on preferences, we're going to go to broadcast and capture. Now here, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. If you can see that usually when you record something in 4K, it only gives you an option from 15 to 30 seconds. Now, the game clip resolution here, if you do have a 4K TV, then it should appear here. I do gotta stress the fact that if you do want to record in 4K, and obviously if you want to see the resolution in 4K, you need to have a 4K TV. If you don't have a 4K TV, this is not going to work. So right here you can select if it's 1080p, 720p, 4K, and 4K HDR, which is what we have here. It only gives you 30 max of seconds, which is okay. You select that, and here it will give you another option to where you want to set the capture location. I do it in both, in the storage and here, just to make sure that it is working and that it is set up right. So again, like you see, that's the name of the USB we'll be using. It's the Xbox 4K. Select it. Alright, now we can exit out of this. There's nothing else that we need to do on the actual settings. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to start recording here. We're going to go ahead and start up any game that's in 4K. In this case, this is the Red Dead Redemption 2. It is in 4K and HDR, so it does give us the option to record. Let's go ahead and just start playing regular story mode so you guys can see when we can start recording. Once the game is already loading and started up, you can press record, how it says on the X, but that would only give you up to 15 to 30 seconds. What you want to do is that you want to press, in this case, I'm going to show you on the remote. You want to press the little window button, which is this one. I really don't know what it's called, but you want to press this button right here. Once you're on the pop-up menu, you press the button with the little windows, and from there it'll give you the option to capture up to an hour long. So it will give you the option here as well as to capture screenshots, but this is what you have to do. So again, I'm going to just show you real fast. From being on the actual game itself, just go ahead and press the X, the Xbox. You can press the little Windows button. It'll pop up the record from now up to an hour. We'll select it. You'll get a message that it starts recording. And once it starts recording, you have up to an hour. You can stop it. And if you do press the X button to bring up the side menu, it'll give you the seconds and the time that you've been recording. So you kind of keep track of that. And you are recording just the game itself, so nothing that comes up on the menu is going to be on what you record. Now, right now we're just waiting for the game to load up, just so we can work with these images that you guys can see on here, so you guys can see that it's what we have it's what we recorded and what we're going to be able to transfer onto our editing software, and then from there we should be able to upload it onto YouTube on the 4K settings. So that would be the way to capture it. As you can see, just this is the regular game. It just looks great, of course. So I'm just gonna give a few seconds more so we can go ahead and just tell that it's this video. Alright, that should be enough. Alright, so if you want to stop recording, if you do want to keep that hour-long recording, you can go up to the hour, it stops by itself, or you can press the X button and press the X where it says stop recording. Once you do that, sometimes it would not give you the message right away. I'm guessing it's because it's saving it, making sure that it is saved on the USB, but sometimes it does pop up and it'll let you know that it stopped recording. But if you do press the X button again, see, there goes the message. But if you do press the X button again, then you can see that you're not recording and you should be good. You can press the little window button again. Let's see. You still have the hour there. All right. So let's go jump onto the Mac so we can go ahead and get on with the resizing, the editing, and the uploading. Get on to the transferring the files from our USB onto our Mac. Now, after you disconnect the USB from the Xbox and connect it onto the Mac, it's going to appear on here. This is the USB we were working on. The game DVR folder is what the Xbox actually creates in order to save all the files, whether it be screenshots or if it's just any recordings in 4K you made. Now, you can't make any modifications to any of these. You can't delete them because it is a different filing system, but we don't really need that, and we don't need to delete anything. The only thing we need from here is to actually drag the file out and work with it. Now, the file that we were working on that we recorded as an example is this one, so I'm going to go ahead and drag it out. It's going to go ahead and take a bit. It doesn't take that long to drag out. One of the things that I actually found pretty cool about this was that the screenshots actually stay in 4K. So any screenshot that you take within the game, any game you're playing that it is in 4K, the images stay the same. So let's go ahead and close out of this. We don't really need to have that open. And now that we have it on our desktop, this tool right here is called Handbrake. It's a very, very useful tool. It's free, and it has helped me a lot in a lot of resizing and a lot of encoding, in this case, to a different storage size. So this is the file that we were working on. We're going to go ahead and select it. If for any reason it doesn't bring up that window that you can select your file, you can just go to open source and select it from there. Now, once you have it on here, you're not going to want to mess with anything on the format. We're going to keep it in, or if it's not an MP4 file, you're going to go ahead and put it on MP4. Now, for the encoder, you're going to have to select, in this case, H.264, which is basically what a lot of people use, and don't want to mess with anything besides that. And here on the constant quality, you might want to keep it at 20. I keep it at 22 just because I want it to look a little bit better, but I recommend you just leave it at 20 if you're trying it out. Now, for the frame rate, you can select the frame rate, or you can select to stay the constant frame rate or same as source. In this case, you can select, like I said, the constant, or keep it at frame. It peaks at every frame rate, which it has. And I usually select 60 for 4K, not because it's actually running in 4K 60, but because on YouTube, once you upload it, it actually does give you that extra option for the 4K 60. A lot of times it doesn't really make a lot of difference. Sometimes it does, but you can't really tell. So I like to keep this at 60 when I'm working with 4K footage. You don't have to miss anything from here, don't change, and you can leave it exactly as I have it here. Now we're going to go ahead and jump onto the picture. And as you can see here on source, it actually has 3840 by 2160, which is the 4K resolution. Now what we're gonna do is gonna go ahead and change on here 3840. We're gonna change it as well as 2160 here. We're gonna go ahead and go to custom. For anamorphic, we're gonna leave it at loose, or you can leave it at auto. It's up to you. You don't need to mess with anything out on here. You do have to select custom because we are making our own custom storage size, but in this case we're telling it to keep it the same storage size because we want the 4K footage, but we want the Mac to read it. So this is why we're doing this. Okay, so after you're done with this, you don't have to move anything otherwise from here. If it looks exactly as I have it here, it should work. For audio, you don't have to do anything, but it does have a lot of configurations, extras on here for subtitles and chapters and so on. But this is what we're working with. Let's go. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and select browse, and from on here you can select where you want to save it. Doesn't really matter, but if you do try to save it this way, you're gonna get an error message, and it's gonna tell you basically that it's gonna replace the file. You don't want to do that because the file that you're actually making here is incomplete. So you're gonna erase the original and you're not gonna have anything. So we're gonna press cancel, and the way that I found to change this, and I went through a lot of videos trying to see if anybody had any kind of idea for Handbrake and the way to actually save the 4K footage on the Mac. So the only thing that when I found out that it was this way, was actually really easy. All you need to do is just change a number or change a letter or a name within the file. That way it makes another file separate completely, but you're keeping the original footage. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and press save, and as you can see, we didn't get that message. Okay, so right here in preview, you can go ahead and scroll basically through the video that you're working with, and as you guys can see, this is the video that we were working with at the end. And you can have a live preview, but it does take a little bit to encode the preview. It's a little bit laggy since it is in 4K and it's very heavy. Alright, so let's go ahead, and after you do that, we're gonna go ahead and just press start. So you want to make sure again that you select everything on Handbrake exactly as I have it on here, and it should work for you. Let's go ahead and start. And right now what it's doing, it's going to go ahead and start scanning the file, and it's going to go ahead and try to resize it, but we're not really resizing it, we're just making it so the Mac can read it. Of course, this is the way that we do it, so we can keep it in 4K and it doesn't change. A lot of the times that I ran into issues where I was working with 4K footage, and because of any error on here on the storage size, or if you didn't change it, in this case how we changed it physically with like typing in the numbers, then the Handbrake itself just automatically puts it in 1080p, which is something that we can't work with because you're trying to use 4K. Alright, so I just went ahead and skipped a little bit forward, and since it is going to take a little bit, it takes about 5 minutes, and depending on how long it's going to take, it actually gives you the estimated time. So I'm going to go ahead and just forward so we can get to the part where we need it to, and once it's done, we'll go ahead and pick it up. Now that we're back, and the Handbrake 2 actually it's already done, so let's go ahead and click OK. Does give you like a couple announcements that it's ready. Let's go ahead and open it. And alright, so there's nothing else that we need to do on here. We're gonna go ahead and just close that. And this is the file that we have. This is the result. And as you can see, let's go ahead and go to the info, and right there. So as you guys can see, we kept the same resolution as in 4K, and we didn't really actually resize it. It actually does make it a little bit smaller. It makes it easier when uploading. So, but the longer the video, the more time it's gonna take to upload, of course, and to render. Now that we have it in this format, MP4 format, we can work with it. We can edit it on any editing tool, and basically just I use Final Cut Pro. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. You guys can see. Alright, so this is on the process of making actually this video, and I'm going to go ahead and add it on there, so you guys can see that it does work. That's the MP4 right there, and there it goes. So this is actually what we recorded on the Xbox, as you guys can see and remember. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you. So it actually records it. The DVR inside the Xbox is actually not that bad. To record up to an hour in 4K, it's a pretty big deal, and it's cool if you do have this Xbox and you want to record in 4K. You want to start making videos, or you want to just test it out for whatever reason. Go ahead and just press play here. Okay, so let's go ahead and forward up to here. Alright, so I'm just gonna open that up in full screen. It actually looks this way because it's on here, the Final Cut Pro. But if you do, or you're familiar with editing or rendering, the 4K footage actually doesn't look as that good on here, but it's gonna stay in the same format, and nothing's gonna change. So once you render it, you just render it exactly the same way you would render any other in this case any other video. But I am gonna go ahead and show you some of the settings on here. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new event just so you guys can get a feel for the settings on Final Cut Pro. And if you're not using Final Cut Pro, you might want to just look for the same way to change these settings. On here, on the new event we're going to create is a 4K. You can select that. As you guys can see, the same resolution. You can select the frame rate on here as well, but we're going to keep it at 60. You don't need to change anything on here. Go ahead and create it. Once you create it, then we'll start working with that file that we have on here. Alright, just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go ahead and render it real fast. It doesn't even take that long, I believe. So I'll just leave it this way. Go ahead and drag it on here, and let's go ahead and render it. It's only 1.63 gigabytes, so that's pretty good. It's not that long, but it's a 4K video, so let's go ahead and save it. Alright, so now it's gonna start rendering, and I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward to this part. It does give you the percentage on here, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward. It's already done here rendering. This is the project, the final project from Final Cut Pro. This is what we would be uploading onto YouTube. I know it's not MP4 format, but that doesn't matter, and I'll tell you why. This format right here that we have it currently on is with normally Final Cut Pro has it on. Now you can modify this. You can even put it on here on the resizing tool, keep it the same size and everything, just so it stays in or it's in MP4 format. But if you do that again, this is one of the mistakes that I made. I actually, after having this footage, the 4K footage from the Xbox, I would edit it and then render it, and then I would again run it through Handbrake, and it would just not 4K. It would, most of the times it would just stay at 1080p, or sometimes even worse, which didn't even climb up to 480. So the reason that we have to upload it as it is right now, after rendering from Final Cut, is because if you upload it in like this, it stays in 4K, and that's the way that we're going to be able to upload it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys just how we're gonna be able to do that. Okay, so now it should be working. So we're gonna go ahead and upload it, and I am going to upload this as a test, and just so I can tie it with the video, the instruction video that I'm making right now, and that way you guys are able to see that it was the same file which we work with, and as you guys saw every step of the way. So we can go ahead and upload it and just make sure that it is in 4K. I'm gonna go ahead and just title this, keep it as untitled project. It doesn't really matter what we have on there. For now, I'm not going to make this public yet. I'm gonna keep it as private, and just so it's on there, and so I can show you guys. Once it's done uploading, I'll go ahead and play it for you and make sure that it is in 4K. Now, one thing that I do have to stress, right now, if you followed every step of the way that we did it, and you're uploading as it says right now, once it's done, YouTube has an issue. I don't understand why, but a lot of people have been reporting this a while back now. If you upload in 4K, you're not going to see it in 4K right away, and the reason is because YouTube takes about 30 to 40 minutes, even 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, depending on your file and depending on YouTube, I guess. But it doesn't show up in 4K after those couple hours. I really don't know why. It does go up to 3 or 480. I'm sorry, and it doesn't go any higher than that. Sometimes it probably says 1080p HD 60, and you think that you didn't do it right, but it's not you, it's YouTube. So go ahead and give it about, I would say, if it's a small video, depending on how long it is, you got to take in consideration that the longer the video, the more the processing takes. So on here, we're gonna go ahead and just wait for about, I'd say like half an hour for this, because YouTube does take its own sweet ass time. Okay, so once it's up uploading, we're gonna go ahead and just play it and make sure that it is in 4K. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to that part. So after it's done uploading, you can just save it. We're not gonna add anything to this because I just set it as private so we can take a look at it. So after that finishes, we can close that up. Okay, now that we're on the Studio Manager, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that it is in 4K. As you see here, the quality, it is in 2160 p60 4K. Alright, so this is basically the way that you would do it to upload in 4K. So as you saw at the beginning of the steps, capturing it, formatting the USB itself, and then transferring it over to the Mac. It's just a few easy steps that we have to do. It's I wouldn't say it's complicated. It's just a lengthy process. If you're on a PC, of course, this works like a lot easier. There's no need to do anything that we did here with the resizing tools. So this is the way we would do it to upload in 4K. And it's just a very, like I said, lengthy process. But if you do want to record in 4K off your Xbox and you want to make videos, or for whatever reason, just for fun, this is the way to do it. Like I said, if you upload a longer video, it is going to take a little bit longer for YouTube to recognize the resolution. So just feel free to ask any questions, or if you're stuck on any of the steps. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Till next time.